What's up, everyone? You are tuned into the channel EEPS episode 159, and it's been a while. It's been a while. Again, I keep on apologizing, dropping the ball. But hey, I only have two hands, folks. Give me a break here. But I will do my best to continue a regular routine and cadence to do the channel EEPS. Now, the reason why I was so busy is because, as some of you know or may not know, I am the inaugural Library and Archives Canada creator in residence, meaning I'm the first creator in residence for Library Archives Canada, a federal memory institution that is basically the gatekeepers and holders of the history of Canada. Um, and it's an honor, but also a great responsibility. And I'm like, I better not mess this up. But why you would want to ask, why would they choose a digital artist? They could have chose any creator, any discipline person, but they chose me. And that's a great question, and I asked myself that too. But thinking back, it's all about just showing up essentially. Like, I believe it started when I was a board member for the Canadian Museums Association. And it was one of the summits where I was invited to talk about my medium, which is digital art. Because in the, I like to think, this is my perspective, from the gallery, archives, museums world, in the institution, digital is it still a novel idea, a novel medium, a novel creative tool or output for an artist's expression. And there's a whole movement of digital transformation, engaging with digital tools, especially when the uh, COVID pandemic happened. Digital was basically forced upon us, whether we liked it or not. And now, post pandemic, we clearly are using more and more engage with digital tools, communication. So, as a digital artist, even before that, it certainly, I think, piqued the institution's curiosity. And what better way to, and I guess, like, I kind of fulfilled a certain mandate, or a, not a mandate, but more like a, I was the, first of all, being in my city in Ottawa, I live in the nation's capital, at arm's length with the federal government, at arm's length with the cultural institutions here. I was, clearly an easy target, lack of a better word. But I also felt like, yeah, I mean, uh, and I think that I have the right mindset, able to balance between commercial engagements, public engagements. I'm an entrepreneur, so of course, back, even to this day, people don't understand what I do. I still been often asked, like, what it is I do. What is digital? What is digital art? Is it hand drawn? Like, I get all these questions to this very day, which is a clear indication that education in this medium, in this movement, still we have ways to go. Okay. Now, long story short, um, my increasing involvement with the institutions, Library Archives Canada, was at arm's length with the Canadian Museums Association. I remember they would come out with this 3 part summit called the GLAMs. Stands for Galleries, Libraries, Archives, Museums. And one of the, like, I was on the working group with Canadian Heritage, for members of the Canadian Heritage and other people involved in the culture sector. And it was decided that I would be a moderator for the technology panel in the third and final conclusion of the GLAMs Summit. Was that in 2018? I think it's 2018. Anyway, you could go on the government website. You could search for EEPMON GLAMs, and you'll find it. I'll put a link in my show notes. But I remember it was the technology panel. We got people from Moment Factory. We got people from different cultural institutions, nonprofits to talk about digital and how digital art or digital engagement, even video games, I think we got people from Ubisoft too. A person from Ubisoft was also part of the panel. But as moderating it, it really the audience was super engaged. We went overtime. They had so many questions, the audience, because digital and multimedia and video games it's still a novelty. At the same time, it's a way to engage audience in new and innovative ways to talk about cultural heritage, history, and things that are happening, not just but even now, engaging youth in what are the factors and mediums that are engaging youth that has a pull. How can cultural institutions be part of that discourse? What can we take from those elements and incorporate into our mission to promote our values, our cultural values here in Canada. So that's sort of the trajectory, and one thing led to another. In 2023, I was awarded the Library and Archives Canada Scholar, and then and I continued to do my as an artist, navigating in this very holistic and crazy world. I work in commercial projects, but also I was on the Team Canada trade mission to Japan, minister led, of course. So I guess it was like a portfolio of not just what I created, but of a portfolio of a diversified access to different industries, different stakeholders, different players that created sort of a unique. I'm just thinking perhaps a very unique set of skills and disciplines and foresight and engagement that perhaps they sought me out and go, this person could be the right candidate to be involved with, aligns well with our mission to engage with new audiences. So being Library Archives Canada's first creative residence, I like to think, I think I'm doing something right. They are valuing my entrepreneurship, valuing the way I engage with audiences, no matter who it is, all spectrums, left, right, up, down, in, out. You know what I'm saying? Like my MO as an artist is the power of art should not be siloed or catered to a very narrow niche of people. Art is meant to engage. The power of art is to engage as many people as possible. It's freedom. Art is a freedom medium. So because of that, maybe that's just the way I am. If I could go to Asia, Japan, China, wherever, because of my for my work, for my artwork, that's incredible, right? That's powerful. And that's not saying it's to show off or anything, but it's just like that's my mission. It's freedom medium. And what better way to express freedom of expression than in Canada? We are a democratic society. We live in a diverse, inclusive society of all spectrums, as I said. So, wouldn't it be, an hypothesis? Who are the makers and doers, who are immersed in this rich cultural diversity? That's sort of like, for me, it's a no-brainer. So, long story. I don't know, I've kind of been like going off a bit of a tangent over 10 minutes, but like it's been about almost 4 months since my residency. And I like to think that the team that I'm engaged with Library Archives Canada has been we've been very successful, very productive, and we were very engaged with the public. I've done my first public engagement talk online. We decided to go online because we really want to reach across the nation, and also with our, or at least like my contacts and our relationships with across the globe. Also, I was part of the Doors Ottawa, Open Doors Ottawa, or Doors Open Ottawa, at Library Archives 395 Wellington, 2 days, and it was incredible. Like again, that same feeling I got from the GLAMs Summit was moderating the technology panel, because I was engaged with historical archives, because I was using data sets using computer programming to data visualize and show the information, tying it to the real historical artifacts, tying it to my passion for visual arts, digital arts, code, generative data sets, like that same energy from the labs, like that the curiosity from the audience, it was so telling that those 2 days. And I had witnesses, right? The LAC team were like literally like, whoa, this is crazy. So I was even learning a lot too as I was like engaging with everyone. Like I was like a machine. I didn't stop. I was like from 10 to like 3 p.m. kept on talking. It was crazy. But yeah, so it's been such a productive year so far, and there are more to come. But yeah, like that's, I guess it comes down to like I might want to do an episode later on about diversifying um one's portfolio, not just what you create, but what you do, and where you go, and how you access, and how you unlock, you know, new pathways based on, learning a new skill set, trying something new. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. But yeah, I just thought I'd just give you a little bit of a data dump on what's happening with my artist life. And then, as you know, like the research that I'm doing at LAC is on a history, a very marginalized and underexplored history of our Canadian heritage, and that is the Chinese immigration, especially between 1885 and 1923. We may have had a blurb of it on the history books, but it was a very discriminatory time for Chinese coming into Canada. And there's so I don't, it's been an educational whirlwind for me. I'm learning a lot, and through this residency, I've been engaged with the Chinese community who their lineage is from these very that time period. Chinese immigration certificates, like I can go on forever. Like really, I would recommend that to listen to one of my interviews I did with CBC. Well, CBC was a very short one, but on August 27th, I'm going to be giving my second public engagement at 395 Wellington, where I have a lot more to tell and talk about. But also follow Library Archives Canada's Instagram account and my Instagram account, as you'll see more of what I've been looking at, the privileged access I have to their documents. In fact, this week I'm going to be going back to 395 Wellington to look at some of the publications about the discriminatory acts of the Chinese exclusion of 1923, and also, of course, the 1885 head tax. Like I could. That's another episode. I could talk about that. That's some crazy stuff. The Chinese were exclusively been taxed just because the way we looked, and as a way to limit and discourage immigration. Was kind of, it was kind of crazy, because back then it was like, well, they also needed us. Well, not my lineage specifically, but Chinese are coming in to work in very disdain conditions to build the railway. All these it's crazy. It's nuts, man. But I'm learning a lot, and as an artist as well, and as part of my MO to reach out to new audiences, this is a path that I'm kind of like weaving through this part of this narrative, and this has been incredible, and meeting new people as I venture in this direction. Now the impact, if I think for, I have a big announcement to make, but I won't say it until things are a bit more finalized. And it's something to do with something like that's going to happen early next year. But it's just sort of all these layers or underlayers or whatever, like they're just forming and coming together. Um, uh, and just looking at my trajectory, it has come to a point where actually one of my, oh my god, I'm going all over the place, but one of my dream goals since 2009 is finally manifesting. And I'm like, wow, the trajectory to get to that point, that's just like, I would never thought. But stay tuned to that. But it's because it is the very aspect and it is the very reason, because as an artist, as a digital artist, digital, it is not singular, it's not a single object, it's nothing, it's not just something on a wall or on a screen. It proliferates, it permeates through space and time. Like the digital age is everywhere and it's nowhere. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that. It's like osmosis. It just flows and goes. And that's the sort of like way that my life is. You know, I live a volatile world. My life is quite volatile. I don't have a stable income. I don't get paid every, I don't know, is it bi-weekly or monthly? I don't know what it is now. But I have to, as an entrepreneur, I have to be very diversified. And my way of that digital aspect of things, the diversification, being open minded to engage in new ways, getting uncomfortable, embracing some uncertainties. It's interesting where life takes you, because of the very idea, because the very act of just not knowing, um, is very powerful. Anyway, I don't want to go too long and rant, but I just thought I'd give you a bit of a data dump. This is basically a data dump, but I will be more structured and as I continue with the channel Eves. This is episode 159, and expect to hear from me soon again. Until next time, bye bye.